How's everybody feeling? I've been to that church a lot. That tends to be the opening line of all too many worship leaders. What's the problem with that? 9.9 times out of 10, what you're really trying to do is get people to say, I don't know if Barna did a survey on that, but I suspect that sure could be true, couldn't it? The worship leader maybe hasn't prepared very much, hasn't thought through the point of what he and the congregation are doing. And so a natural thing to ask is what we Americans, not Europeans typically, but what we Americans tend to ask when we greet one another. How are you? I'm doing fine. How are you doing? So that tends to be their opening salvo. Is it possible what they're really looking for is just to get the crowd pumped up and going? Now, at this moment, I could be very tempted to mock and to make fun of the worship leaders who begin the service by saying, how you all feeling? But I don't have to because Alistair Begg did.
And it was quite fascinating, actually. They had big screens, and they had a clock on the screens. And when I got in, it said 5 minutes. And I'd only been in about 2 seconds, and you won't be surprised, it said 4 minutes and 58 seconds. And then it counted down, and eventually when it counted down, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and just right on the moment of time, the band began, and I was waiting for David Letterman at that point. Anybody, I didn't know what was going to happen next. And then eventually the band did what it did, and then the person who was to lead the praise, his opening gambit was this. Hey, how do y'all feel this morning? Well, that was enough for me. I was ready. We could have had the benediction right there. That was so good. I thought, what kind of New Testament question is that? How do you all feel this morning? If I told you how I feel, especially in light of the last 5 minutes, you would question whether I was even a Christian at all. So don't ask me that question. Ask me what I know. Ask me what I know. Don't ask me what I feel about myself. Ask me what I know about God. Ask me what I know about His Word. Ask me what I know to be a verity that can deal with my soul. That's what I need. Don't make me sing songs about how I feel.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second. I'm just dabbing up the moisture because he's dripping with sarcasm. There ain't nothing wrong with emotions when it comes to worshiping God, but we want to make sure we don't put the cart before the horse. When should our emotions be evident? After our brains have been filled with knowledge.
The silly, repetitive songs again and again. I just want to praise you, lift my hands and say I love you. You are everything to me. Goodness, at 8:30 on a Sunday morning, I'm barely ambulatory. I can't start there. And you want me to say that? I just kicked the dog, and I don't even have a dog. I got argued with someone because they took my parking space. I never had spilled my coffee. I didn't read my Bible. I'm a miserable wretch. And now you want me to start here. How do you feel? I feel rotten. That's how I feel. What do you got for me? The answer, nothing. I got nothing for you.
I have a feeling that was a wee bit ad lib because Alistair Begg tends to be an expositor who pretty much goes by his outliner script. This seemed to be an impassioned plea to worship leaders. Stop focusing on feelings. Start emphasizing truth, which leads to correct emotions.
That's why you have to get yourself under the control of the Scriptures. That's why it is what we know, the verities of the Scriptures, which then fuel our hearts and our emotions and lead us on. Hence, praise my soul, the King of heaven. To His feet thy tribute bring. Ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven. Who like thee his praise should sing? Okay, now we've got something to sing about. For we've been reminded of truth. You've been ransomed. You've been healed. You've been restored. You've been forgiven. You're looking away from yourself. Now you're looking out unto Christ. And it is in this that we have something that fuels our praise.
Permit me to demonstrate what the rather sarcastic Scott is trying to say. Hey, Adrian, thanks for showing up. Hey, have I told you what an amazing cook my wife is?
No.
She is amazing.
Really?
Phenomenal. Spectacular. Her cooking. Wow. Makes my mouth water just thinking about it. She should have her own TV show on the cable network that exists for some reason I can't understand. Her cooking. Rachel Ray. I think that's a chef. Bobby Flay wishes that they could cook. She is. Gonna ask me pretty soon a question?
How good is her kid cooking?
Glad you finally asked. Maybe it would help Adrian and you to understand what an amazing chef my wife is by, I don't know, giving you some knowledge, providing for you a little information, describing for you what it is that she cooks and how it tastes. Even better if I brought in one of her recipes and fed it to you, you'd go, oh, that's really delicious. And then I wouldn't be the only one saying, Mrs. Friel is an amazing cook. What changed the scenario? Knowledge. Yes, we should sing about the love of God. We should sing about amazing grace, but only when we have knowledge about what makes his love so amazing. Without that, then it's the music that has to get me whipped up. Remember, music is not worship. If I had a guitar and put it down on the floor, it would just sit there. It doesn't do anything. The guitar can't worship God. Drums can't worship God. I hate to say it, but even an organ can't worship God. You say, well, what about when somebody plays it? I say, indeed. What about when somebody plays it? The music itself is not worship. It's sound. It's the individual playing it that is worshiping God. In other words, it needs to come from somebody who is desiring to communicate something based on something they know. Otherwise, the music has to get me whipped up. And that's what they do these days. Have you noticed that a lot of that synthesizer kind of mystical sounding music, and we got the fog machine going on, and it's all kind of moody, and the lights are dimmed? What's happening is an effort to try to get you to feel something. Go ahead, feel all you want to. Feel all that you should, but only if it is not manipulated, forced, coerced, cajoled, hectored, peer pressured. Instead, let your genuine feelings be expressed in worship when your brain is filled with knowledge.